have any idea how depressing it is to be a fate weaver in a place like this? I've seen the fate of every soldier in that battle, and none of them were to survive past that day. I do not know what you are or how you are doing whatever it is you're doing, but I'm glad you are on our side. It was a great deed, her sacrifice. Still, I find it odd. It wasn't her fate to die here. She was to continue on after the fall of the city. I don't know why I came here. Every fate I see ends in a terrible, gruesome death. I came here wishing to be of some use to the defenders of the city, but telling them all that they are going to die isn't what I had in mind.
It's time to celebrate! The Baelor's dead, and the Tuatha have fallen back to Cursewood. You and me, let's drink to victory. I'm not doing this for the glory. Glory's worthless when you're dead. I'm doing this because someone has to, and if not me, then who? Oh, I come from a long line of soldiers. We don't know anything else. I'd pay good gold to see anyone in my family bake a loaf of bread or read a book. Thought we were doomed, didn't you? You and everybody else. But nobody accounted for the hero of Mel-Sen-Shear. No, not Tak. Not Tak. Damn the Tuatha! Damn them to the fires! This isn't how it was supposed to happen. I was supposed to be the soldier. He was supposed to stay home to watch Mother. I knew he was in Cursewood, but they must have been in the path of the Baelor. They were trying to shield us. Poor Tak. Mother will be ruined.
Business is booming. I thank Lyria you were here with us, hero. You brought us victory in our darkest moment. I've been running the Serpent's Tail ever since the original proprietor left to buy supplies and never came back. It's not easy keeping a tavern open in the middle of a siege, but the soldiers needed something to keep their minds off the war. When she left before, well, I didn't think we would ever see her again. She was far braver and stronger than I gave her credit for. What you see around you is a shell of what Mel-Sen-Shear once was. Before the Tuatha occupation, she was a great trading post, a sister of Rathir. But now the city is in ruins, and the path to rebuild her is long indeed. The Tuatha lines have broken, and we still live. It looks like fate has a sense of humor. Please, forgive my melancholy. The champion of Mel-Sen-Shear should be cheered, not subjected to my sorrow. I am Adren Tyr, and I owe you my thanks. Though many have been lost, your courage saved a great many more. I am a warrior, nothing more. I go where I am told. I will spill blood with my company upon the shield wall until either I fall or no enemies remain. I did not think fate would let us survive that onslaught. It seems that even if fate is not on our side, you are. She was the greatest among us. What happened out there on the wall? I knew she would redeem herself. Thank Lyria she was here, and that her life was not given in vain. Mel-Sen-Shear has been my home for 7 years of bitter struggle. As grateful as I am for the strength of its walls, I am eager for a new horizon. I was dead, or I should have been at least, if it were not for a Varani mercenary who threw himself in the fray. He fought like a demon, and I was able to escape. The poor man was not so fortunate, though. I watched the Tuatha cut him off, and then he was gone. It shames me, but I once held such mercenaries in great disdain. But this man, whoever he was a warrior of honor. He was cut off and surrounded by the Tuatha. He is surely dead. However, his body must lie somewhere in Cursewood. It would give me peace to learn of his fate.
You're the one who slew the Baelor. Honor to you, champion. I command the Ariad. We are warrior scouts, the eyes of the Alfar. My men are scouting the Tuatha's retreat, though I fear I may have lost even them to this cursed forest. I have been leading the Ariad for many seasons now. I may not have the flair that some of our other leaders do, but I get the job done. Don't care what happened on the wall. Talara was a great general, through and through. She'll always be a hero to the Ariad, and to me. My men and I are glad to be free of its walls. It is about time the brass decides to unleash us on these Tuatha dogs. Aye, Cluracan's doomed to drown in blood. Mark my words. The men and women of the Ariad are handpicked for possessing a very particular set of skills. We are the eyes of the Alfar forces. It is our responsibility to move among the enemy, to watch and wait, and when necessary, to kill. Vile creatures. The sooner we kill them all, the better. They are overdue. My men are never late. They are either where they are supposed to be, or they are dead. In fact, if you are venturing out into the forest, may I prevail upon you for aid? 3 of my men are missing. If you discover any evidence of what befell them within the Cursewood, let me know. Warrior to warrior, I would be in your debt. And if it would sweeten the pot, there'd be gold for you as well. It's been called that ever since they laid the foundations of Mel Senshir. Even the smallest of plants and critters can kill you out here.
Good to be out of the city again. I'm looking forward to taking the fight back to the Tuatha. Drafan runs the Ariad. I've never been much for officers, but he gets things done, and he cares about his men. And women. I was asked to join the Ariad after my 3rd battle here. Since then, I've probably spent more time in Cluracan than Mel Senshir. War is not won by brute force alone. It takes knowledge and planning to defeat the enemy. That is the Ariad's role. Acquiring the knowledge that will carry us to victory, and sometimes eliminating those with similar knowledge on the other side.
It is a pleasure to meet the Siegebreaker. Especially here, in a land where pleasure has been all too rare. I am Sidon the Outcast, Prince in exile of the House of Sorrows. I'm here to welcome you to our home. I see the hesitation in your eyes. Although I am Fae of the Winter Court, you and I have a common enemy. I am Sidon the Outcast. Once, I was Prince of the House of Sorrows, but my true duties are to the true Court of Winter. The Winter Fae have been disgraced and despoiled by Gadflo and the Tuatha. With your help, I can end their reign. Clearly I'm not Tuatha. I carry a loathing for them that mortals could never understand. I simply approached your lines peacefully and expressed my desire to speak with the Siegebreaker. It seems that even the simplest mortal soldier can recognize an ally against our mutual enemy. Indeed, you accomplished a great feat here. But the Tuatha Deon are far from defeated. Before striking the heart, you must trim the fat and cleave through the bones. If you wish to put an end to Gadflo's reign, meet my brethren and me at Foe's Hearth to the east, and we can talk further there. Yes, I traveled with Agarth back in his prime. But those are stories for another time. I've heard of her, and I've seen her work. A dead diplomat here, a salvaged peace treaty there, a handful of lies told to protect an innocent. But even as a collector of secrets, there's precious little I know about her. Nothing could be more beautiful than a mystery like her. We are the remains of the Winter Fae. Refugees from the capital of Bale. Outcasts from the houses. And those who escaped Prismia Blades. The Tuatha have taken our court and our birthrights. And for that, we will take their lives. To restore a balance once again. I am Sidon the Outcast. Once I was Prince of the House of Sorrows, but my true duties are to my kind. The Winter Fae have been disgraced and despoiled by Gadflo and his new god. For House and Heartbreak, I shall end his reign. We have walked these lands for countless ages, always playing the same roles, always seeing to the proper cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Now, we face the end of our ways. Not from the mortals, as some had feared, but from our own kind. We're only a shadow of what we were before Gadflo poisoned our minds. Seems natural for embodiments of decay, doesn't it? But unlike our lighter siblings in the Summer Court, we'll fight to cleanse the Tuatha from our lands, just as any wounded animal would. No need to be surprised. We know that you seek the corpse collector. Secrets are among our specialties. It wasn't so long ago that you were working with him here. But then, that was a lifetime ago for you, wasn't it? The Tuatha have corrupted the very soul of the Unseelie, twisting our people, stealing our noble houses, and driving our true leaders into exile. I've tried to get the Unseelie to unite against them, but by the time we realized their threat, it was too late. But I'll not give up. When mortals think of Fae, they prefer to think of the Summer Court. And why not? They're radiant and true, even if they are too full of themselves. By all means, pretend all the Fae are like them. You'd never dare go to sleep if you truly understood the rest of us. Prismeer has always grown in our lands, but only with the surge of magic into our world was it anything other than a simple gem. Home of my heart, and grave of my troubles. This is where the brave and foolish come to die. And in death, they feed the swift and sly. That little fool used to be nothing more than a capering jester in the Winter Court. That he found the power to rise against the High King and defeat him. It's enough to make you think there's something to his god, Tirnoch. I'd rather not talk here. Cloricon is filled with Tuatha spies. Travel to the old ruins at Foe's Hearth. We'll meet you inside and we can talk there. The House of Sorrows is home to the lovelorn, the desperate, and those ravaged by hope. Together, my brethren and I took back what the world had taken from us. Now, the Tuatha have taken our people, our houses, and our self-respect. We grieve at these losses, but we shall take them back by whatever means necessary. The House of Vengeance was a place of fierce honor and stoic determination that made granite seem soft and fickle. But not anymore. When Gadflo rose up, he unleashed their bottled hatred and turned it against the mortals. Now, they're led by a vicious cur, more beast than Fae.
Good to see Sidon's still around. It's been a long time. I had wondered what happened to the Winter Fae when Gadflo took control. Seems that they formed the Bitter Frost. They've got as much to fight for as our kind, and nothing left to lose. We couldn't ask for a better ally. Old Sidon's a snake, but he's still on our side. Why, I remember when he helped rescue my fiancée from Rassanon, back in my younger days. Of course, she called off the wedding and just mooned over Sidon after all that. He has that effect. Sidon and I used to be best of friends. Sure, it's been a decade or two, but for Faye, that's barely a blink of the eye. I'd trust him with my life.
What are you doing out here? Did Captain Drafan send you? Tell him I'll be along shortly. I've got some unfinished business brewing here. Leader of the Ariad and my commander. We're scouts who serve the Alfar interests in Cloricon. Drafan's a stickler for the rules, but that's all right. Sometimes rules are useful. I don't remember what I did before the war. That time is all hazy to me now. I've been killing for so long, I wonder if even my family would recognize me. Don't get me wrong, I owe the walls of that fortress. They saved my life a dozen times over, but I'm glad to be out in the world again. It's where I do my best work. By unfinished business, I mean Deadeye, Tuatha assassin, responsible for hundreds of Alfar deaths in the war. The two of us just crossed paths here in the wood not half a day past. I hunted the monsters to Shattertear Mines. You're the hero of Mel Senshir, right? Think you can lend a hand? Deadeye's inside. I don't dare to go in alone. Hundreds of my brethren have fallen to that creature. But you killed the Baelor. So I'll stand here and cover the exit with my bow. You can venture into Shattertear and hunt the hunter, so to speak. No one knows her actual Tuatha name. I probably couldn't pronounce it even if I did. What I do know is that she doesn't miss. Not with that fabled bow of hers. As I said, hundreds of my fallen brothers bear witness to that. Judging from the amount of blood I've seen, Deadeye's probably wounded pretty bad. Which means gutting the monster will be all the more risky. Don't underestimate the danger. Deadeye is finished then. Well done, warrior. Take this gold for your troubles. And now, I best return to Captain Drafan. He'll want a full report.
I have waited some time for you to come, Siegebreaker, and it seems that my patience has, at least, been worthwhile. The House of Sorrows has need of your might. Aid us, and you will earn a strong ally in the war against the Tuatha Deon. Like your Alfar allies, we Winterfey suffer under the Tuatha's onslaught. And like the Alfar, we Winterfey need a champion. But it is a difficult position we are in, mortal. The Fey are not like your kind. We have different priorities, different threats. We need someone who understands that. You may call me Bizarrain. I represent one of the great houses of the Winter Court, the House of Sorrows. This war with the Tuatha has worn the house to all but dust. We Fey are ill-equipped to handle such change. But your kind, you mortals, can bear it. It is not a simple task I ask of you. I have only approached you because you show the potential of use. You must still prove your worth. Go to the Midden and find the place called the Proving Halls. This hearthstone will grant you access. Once you are within the halls, my questions will be answered.
A journal? Let me see. This book looks like it might belong to the man who saved my life. He speaks of a brother in a place called the Icebrine Coast. Perhaps when the war is over, I will travel there and tell this man how his brother died. Thank you, champion. This book has brought me some small measure of peace.
So two are dead and Herc still lives. That is good news at the least. Though I'll need to have words with him about refusing to check in when he was supposed to. Still, I owe you much. Take this gold in gratitude. Perhaps in the coming days we can work together again. He's a good scout, although he is a little too independent at times.
It is agreeable to see you, Siegebreaker. Cluricon can be inhospitable at times, as the Tuatha have learned. We've made sure of it. So I did. We are the Bitter Frost, the last few remnants of free Winter Fey. We have refused to bend knee to Gadflow or his god. Our numbers are few, but we have fought our kin as best we can. The once noble houses of Sorrow, Pride, and Vengeance have all fallen under Gadflow's sway. Until they're freed, the Tuatha's ranks will continue to swell with the faithful. You can't fight a war on your own. And even if you could, you'd find your path barred by the House of Pride, as well as the House of Vengeance. You need a way to strike at their heart, a way to reach Gadflow himself. And we know how you can get there. Blind him, cut out his tongue, Draw the venom from our land. Only then will we be able to begin to strike at Alabastra. The Tuatha have built Prismere chantries across Cluricon. From here, Godflow rallies the faithful, preaches the word of Tirnoch, and corrupts our land. Destroy these chantries and disrupt Godflow's ability to infect this land. Without Godflow to guide them, the Tuatha in Cluricon will be disorganized and scattered. When this is done, we'll take you to Ventrinio. He can help you breach Alabastra. There are 3 of them, to the south and east. Kill their guards, then smash their crystals and be done with them. Godflow will try to stop you, but it's just a harmless projection. He can't hurt you. At least, not directly.
And so another mortal approaches, even as this one's blood has yet to dry. But my desire to extinguish mortal life has yet to be satiated. Come, you seem a warrior. Why not fight me? Excellent. I hope you provide more of a challenge than this pathetic wretch did. Enough of this farce. I have fought more than enough mortals on your terms, on your ground. Let us see if you are as powerful in my domain. We will finish this fight in my hollow, Tyne Hill. The magics of the Midden run strong in that place. I will be unbeatable!
It is over then. The headsman will bother our encampment no more. I hate this place. That it might drive a soul to think butchering us was some kind of justice, and what he did to those prisoners. But it's over now. We don't have much to offer, or rather, much to spare. But please, accept whatever reward we can give you. Many thanks, stranger. We weren't very many, but we were sent by the Alfar Command, ostensibly to make sure the Tuatha didn't have any positions out here. But there was another purpose. We were to try and find a way to give the bodies of our men a proper burial. Suppose I'm the only one that still holds rank around here anymore. My brother Gilman was leading us, but... I hate that damn thing. The Tuatha are using it to lord our own dead over us. I aim to do something about it. Cluricon has its dark places, but the Midden... It's hard to even stand here. I don't know how you make it look so easy. But we've been sent here for a reason, and we'll stay until we see it through.
Wait a moment. You are not part of the army, are you? What are you doing here? No matter. We are injured here and need someone fit enough to venture into the Midden to recover some important reconnaissance. Somewhere in this mess of bodies is the corpse of my former scout, Venris. He was carrying the information when the Tuatha caught him. We have a special assignment to undo the damage to morale here and to give these bodies a proper burial. The thing is not cursed, but it is eerie seeing it looming over us the way it does. I cannot wait to get out from under its shadow. This place is foul. The Fae act as though it was once a place of great significance, but all this death, is this truly what they marvel? Even if you knew what Venris looked like, it would not make finding him amongst all these bodies any easier. The wolf knows Venris's scent. He can track it through the Midden and lead you directly to the body. Very well. I'll release the wolf now. Follow him and make sure nothing happens to him before he finds Venris. Without him, we have no means of singling Venris's body out from all of the others. It was Venris's pet, and also his friend. They often went on scouting missions together. The two were inseparable. Thank the gods you were able to recover the reconnaissance the Venris carried. This information would have proved disastrous in the wrong hands. When the Tuatha tossed Venris in here, I feared all might have been lost. But thanks to you and his wolf, the armies will not suffer the same fate as Venris. Take this. It is not much, but it is what we can offer, along with our thanks. Thank you for recovering this information. It is not much, but we need to make sure we stay away from the Tuatha's movements. All information helps. Nearly got gutted trying to scout out the Tuatha after you carried the day in Melsen Shear. So Command sent me here for an easy job. It is clear they never stepped foot in this place. Be careful, or you will end up like me, or worse.
Praise be to Mitharu, and may his blessing be upon you for visiting this humble camp. I am Krieger, a humble cleric of Mitharu. I have accompanied these noble Alfar in peace, and I would make use of you in my mission if you are willing. Truly, the army is stressing at the seams, but they have enough decency to try and give these poor souls a burial rite. How noble of them. A grotesque monument. That the Fae worship trees is barbarous enough, but does this House of Sorrows find it so saintly to treat bodies so? I'm a humble servant of Mitharu. My abbot asked me to refrain from coming here, but I knew someone had to bring faith to those who suffer. I thought to count the dead, so the history might know the enormity of the bloodshed. But even that has escaped me. A horrid place. This is the holy ground of these winter Fae? This is the form their worship takes? This is nothing but a celebration of death and dismemberment. Mitharu take me, but the Alfar should not stop at just the Tuatha, it seems. The world needs to know how many of Mitharu's children gave their lives to fighting these heathen Tuatha. You will find an earring upon each soldier who has been slain. Bring the earrings to me, and I will be able to tally the dead. I'm glad to have your help. The soldiers, their bodies are strewn throughout the midden. Every one has made the ultimate sacrifice in service. Collect the earrings from them, and I will give you what I can. Thank you for this, Wanderer. The world must know. Very well. Let me pay you for your services. If you find you have time to look for more, I can always make use of your assistance. Mitharu thanks you.
And so you have come, whether to aid the house or rain punishment on the Tuatha, I do not know. That you are here is enough. To assuage your confusion, I am Bizarane, king of the house. During your trials, I will observe and communicate to you through this medium. This is about you, of course. You are the only mortal to be given a chance to join the House of Sorrows. But do not think such an offer is given out of honor or respect for you. What drives me to this offer is what brought you here. Necessity. Through the crystal you see before you, it is not magical in and of itself, but a conduit for my own magic. All your actions will be known to me. Every word will be listened to. What you do is of no concern to me. What I hope to evaluate is what you are, to know how you might best help the house. I have locked the way behind you. The way forward is your only path out of these halls. I can tell you no more, other than that I will be watching.
Help me, mortal! The beast will kill me if you do not help! Beast roam these halls, mortal. Once these lands were quiet, gentle. Now they mean to kill all that tread upon it, even the Winter Fae. My people have lived in peace for decades, centuries. But now we're awash in war and corruption, and we cannot stop it. I do not know. The Midden, it has been sullied. We've never feared such assaults until recently. Wait, what was that? It is here!
So you have completed your first trial. Your actions spoke volumes, but your reactions are just as pertinent. You killed the creature that was chasing that woman. Why? It would be at great fault if I did not know something of you, the mysterious mortal without a fate to call his own. Your lack of fate is intriguing, I will admit, and although it is why I summoned you, it does not represent the whole of your nature. Hence, the need for evaluation. Ahead, you will find a Fae of Sorrows succumbing to poison. I am interested to see what you make of him.
Please, are you the mortal that Bizarrain has brought to aid us? The one he is promised? Thank mercy I have been poisoned. But now that you are here, you can kill me. Please, end my suffering. I do not know. It is some poison. In other times, the Fae would not be vulnerable to this. But we are weaker now. We are prone. I could have walked from this once. But now... Please, mortal. I know it's strange, but the Fae are not like you. Death is different to us. I will rise once more in time, but killing me will let me escape this suffering. I do not know. Everything is blurred. I do not even know where I am. It must have been him. He does whatever he cares with his subordinates. It was Bizarrain. He was meant to save us from the Tuatha, to preserve our oldest traditions, to protect the Winter Fae. You will just let me suffer. Cruel.
So, you spared the sword. I wonder, was it some sense of honor that stayed your blade, or something crueler? I lead a court of Winter Fae who wish to free these lands from the Tuatha, and we have gone too long without new blood. You have demonstrated substantial worth. One trial remains. You have reached this chamber at last. The time of trial is over. No more apparitions, no more questions. The House of Sorrows has always held a precarious position in this world, and now we hold on to it by the tips of our fingers. You think you have broken the Tuatha's grip on Cluracan. You have not. Even now, the Winter Fae and the House of Sorrows are subject to their malice. I am the King of Sorrows. I have held dominion over these halls, over this house, over the Winter Fae who dwell here. But the war upon Cluracan has sapped me of my strength. Should these times continue, I may become nothing. Nothing at all. It is we who permit the Winter Fae to rise above their basic nature, to foster decay and ruin. A nature that normally divides rather than unites. For a time, the House avoided the war that cleaves this land. But now that war is upon us, and we are not ready. I am not one to take anything on faith. If I wish to know an object's worth, I examine it for myself. This trial is designed to demonstrate your mettle. Because there are trials that I can observe from afar, and others that I must see at hand. We have reached the trial that I must be present for, if I am to test you truly. What you need to do and why you must do it are two very different matters, mortal. I deal in instructions, not explanations. Indeed. Perhaps not. Now that your trial has concluded, come with me. The Tuatha have yet to break down our doors, but I would not put that past them. The house is poised to collapse from the Tuatha's dissension and destruction, and I need one to help us. I know it is not the mortal way to test someone in a manner such as this. The beast, the poison, it was all done out of necessity. I did not need you to understand the trial. I only needed it completed. I do not have time for you to meet the struggles of the house unprepared. Your reactions were real, but the Fae with whom you interacted, Tybri, Kadarok, and myself, were not. They were but apparitions of the Fae you will come to know in this house. As facsimiles, the apparitions were appropriate enough, but I think you will find their real-world counterparts more complex. Welcome to our ranks, mortal. The Hearthstone I gave you at the start of the trials will now reflect your affinity with us. Come, join me at the House of Sorrows. I will show you a world stranger than you have ever seen. The Prince of Sorrows once, but now no longer. He wages a war against the Tuatha with little support but his own strength. Perhaps that is enough for him, but the only thing he will weaken is the house's morale. To your kind, it is a celebration of war. But before your mortal corpses were hung there by Tuatha, it was the emblem of our house's duty. The most reverent corpses were placed not in the midden, but hung upon those boughs to show all of nature that we still revere our essence of decay. But like all things in these lands, the tree has been defiled by war. Saturnin took our greatest symbol and turned it to filth. My summer brethren embody the growth and progression of nature. As such, establishing the summer realms came easy to them. But the winter fae bear the burden of regression and decay in their essence. Left alone, they would never be able to overcome such a weight. They could never unite. The house's founder, the Weeping King, took on their sorrows and freed them. We carry the burden inherent in the winter fae, so they can achieve greatness. The House of Sorrows made a pact with the Tuatha. They would not interfere with us if we did not interfere with their war with the Alfar. Of course, the Tuatha did not trust us, so they insisted that a new king be appointed to the house, one agreeable to both parties. In the end, I was the one chosen. I was to be king. But in answering that call, I have been labeled a traitor by many within the house. He is the agent of the Tuatha, and though he bears their allegiance, his appearance is that of a winter fae. I am certain of it. I know little of him, but of me and my house, his knowledge is wide and deep. With every action, he reveals that he is merely toying with us. He is not a type of foe I am familiar with, for he does not attack outright. Instead, he instills fear and despair. The Midden is the cradle in which our race of winter was fostered. It is a place of rot, of decay, a place where the House of Sorrows holds reign. The Fa Kelidae they call themselves. The Faithful. They take the Fae of Winter and craft them into an army. But they know little of true devotion. If we are to discuss the plight of the house, I will do so at his heart. Come, meet me in the main hall of the House of Sorrows, and we will speak more.
Mortal, there is something that requires the attention of one of your kind. You have been to the Midden, yes? The sacred ground being desecrated by the corpses of your kind? If there was anyone meant to bear the title King of Sorrows, it was him. Had we not succumbed to the Tuatha's bargaining, he would have been king. Instead, we turned our backs on him. The gallows tree is the silent sentinel of the Midden, demonstrating how life grows out of death. It justifies our existence, defines it. It is a symbol not only of the House of Sorrows, but of the Winter Fae. To bear one's corpse upon it was a sacred rite, until the Tuatha defiled it with mortal remains. It is from these halls that we of the house safeguard the oldest traditions of winter. It must be shown due reverence. I have nothing more to say about him other than history will know him as the victor. It was a gift of the earth to commemorate the rot and decomposition of the Fae. Then the Tuatha sullied it with the corpses of their prisoners. Mortals do not decay like Fae do. Mortals putrefy and corrupt. The Midden and the House now feel this grisly taint. The nature of my request is not something the Midden needs, but something the Midden should do without. The corpses of your brethren have been thrown into the Midden as a declaration of hostility by the Tuatha, but they do more than signify a point. Their corruption and rot have drawn an ancient Lianshi Mithgra from slumber. She gluts herself on the bodies and will further corrupt the Midden if unchecked. To feed, Lianshi are drawn to death and decay, something Winter Fae embody in spirit, but which mortals embody in flesh. When mortal corpses began appearing in the Midden, Mithgra was unable to resist the temptation before her, and now she runs rampant. You cannot hope to solve the problem with a simple application of violence. The Athgra is old, and she is wise to obvious attacks on her. Searching will yield no quarry, so you must be cunning. If we cannot find her in the Midden, we can force her to return to her den beneath the house. Find fresh corpses, the ones Mithgra prefers to eat, and cremate them. With no food to scavenge, she will return to her den. Then you can kill her. She is an ancient and powerful Lianshi. Normally she hibernates in the Midden, but the recent influx of dead mortals has driven her to feed. It will only be a matter of time before she further corrupts the Midden with her presence. For the house's sake, she must be put down. With great difficulty. She is clever, and hides well when any come hunting for her. To search for her outright would be folly. But with some cunning, we can force her to appear. Mithgra prefers fresh corpses. Destroy those, and she would likely return to her den to wait for more. Locate any fresh corpses you can find, and cremate them. Without food, she will stop scavenging and return to her den.
Greetings, mortal. I am a tender of the Midden. I have been instructed to offer you what insight I can give about the art of dispelling. Though we are targeted by Tuatha, Sidon is the only one who wages open war against them. For good or ill, I do not know. I have always felt magic's call, but in the Midden, the call is strongest. It allows me to see charms and spells and undo them. This I teach to all who listen. Once, we lived in the wilds of the Midden, but as the place became defiled, we had to take refuge in these old halls for fear of the beasts outside, and of Saturnin. If there is nothing else we can do, if we cannot bring a lasting peace for our house, then at least let us bring an end to Saturnin. Be warned, mortal. The Midden is no longer what it once was. It is a place of beasts and dark, putrid magic, unsafe to all who enter.
You, the Siegebreaker, walks here. Good. Now perhaps the Tuatha will have cause to fear us. I am Heisener, one of the Delvers. Sidon the Outcast. Nothing is truly solitary in nature, but Sidon walks a lonelier path than most. I wish him well. There is little that can be said of it, The tree is the oldest in these lands. Like we Winter Fae, it thrives off decay. For too long have I been within this house, unable to help my brethren. I wish to walk the woods again. I wish to delve again. Once they could look into a Fae and take the burden of winter from their heart. But now, the delvers are deaf to the sorrows. All, it seems, but one. The Winter Fae look to us to appease the decay in winter's heart. Through our efforts, all of Winter Fae are able to transcend their nature. I never thought to know a menace I could not see or hear or strike, and yet the Tuatha have furnished us with one.
And you have come to Drozer. I know of your kind, mortal. I have seen what you have to offer. War, destruction, calamity. You are better off leaving us be. He will always be a prince of the house, even though we have parted ways. I wish him well. The art of the Delvers has been passed on since the Weeping King first walked this midden. That it is now lost, it must be some Tuatha witchery. What do you wish to know of me, mortal? What of a Fae could you hope to understand? I will not deign to explain my life to you. Once, the bodies of our most faithful members were hung upon the tree. But now, the Tuatha have decorated it with the butchered corpses of mortals. Blasphemy! We are the foundation upon which all Winter Fae rely. By attacking us, the Tuatha have turned their back on their own kin once and for all. I have seen the Tuatha as they fell upon the houses of pride and of vengeance. It was horrible and maddening. But never have I seen a Tuatha draw out a battle such as this. Never have I seen one enjoy such malice.
Many tidings, mortal. I am a tender of this house. What is it you require? Though he has done well to stand against the Tuatha, he has done so by embracing their warlike methods. We are the penitent ones who oversee the rotting of the world. Your kind reviles us, but without our aspects of nature, nothing would ever flourish. I cannot venture into the midden. Not any longer. There are beasts both ravenous and cruel, and sights loathsome to behold. It scares me. I thought the Tuatha were capable only of barbarity, only of outright vengeance. Instead, we are told that the Tuatha have unleashed on us a beast of cunning, of sly vindictiveness, and it cannot be stopped. When the world was young, it was from the midden that we were born, and that all things came to die.
It seems there were more to the rumors of Bizarane's pet mortal than I gave credit. I am Matea, lore keeper of the house. I hold the lore of the house in my being. It is a responsibility that I alone can bear. As such, I am neither Delver nor Tender. Though he fights in the name of our people, I cannot help but feel abandoned by him. I only hope this war does not consume him. Delvers are not chosen. Though many wish to follow in the steps of the Weeping King, few have his gift. Those that do, then, are compelled to serve as he did. There has always been a House of Sorrows, it seems. Not long after the birth of the Winter Fae came the Weeping King, and with him, the house. There is no precedent for a foe like this. Even in the ancient wars, no Fae ever acted in a manner such as Saturnin. I am at a loss to know what we must do to stop him. I do not believe it is a victory we can achieve. Delvers see to the sorrows of a Fae, but Tenders see to his flesh. When a Fae dies, Tenders take the body to the midden and see it safely into rot. Once a gentle place where the bodies of the Winter Fae were returned to the earth, the midden is now a mire of filth, of putrid mortal death. Be careful when within.